Wow, I've sat here and tried to film this so many times. I've had a fully edited video that I made and just haven't posted because I am just like sitting in my own fear and wanting this to be so perfect, but it's not gonna be. So, hey, I dropped out of college. Like, the thought of sitting here and clicking that record button and saying that I dropped out 6 months ago, actually. And I haven't, my friends and family barely know. Like, I'm so sorry, Aunt Deanie, if you're watching this, and this is how you're gonna have to find out, because I just haven't told anyone. And not in a way that's like, oh my god, everyone should care and I've just been hiding it, but like, let me get into it, hey. Honestly, I'm already preparing for this video to be a shit show because I don't know how to speak without constantly having disclaimers in my head when I'm talking in front of a camera. And I'm probably gonna edit this in the way that my brain moves, which is way too fast all the time, but I'm gonna try to explain myself. Like, I never entered college with the inkling that I wouldn't finish, but then again, back then I didn't even know my favorite color or what I had for dinner the night before, so like, let's start there. I'll get into this another time, but I think knowing yourself is the most valuable thing that you can work towards achieving or getting to know in your life, because it is literally the key to everything. And the more I've gotten to know myself, the more I've realized what I need and don't need and what I align and don't align with, but that's a whole other conversation. But I didn't know myself back then, and my desires are constantly shifting and changing, and I'm okay with that, and I'm here along with the ride, and this happens to be my ride right now, you know? And I used to be such a good student in high school. Like, I was in all honors and AP classes by the end of my high school career, and I liked being challenged, and I liked learning. Like I feel like there's a misconception that when people drop out of college, it's because they don't care about learning anymore. It just like wasn't for them. It's like, that's not my case at all, because I genuinely enjoy and love learning, but I then came to college and chose a communication major because I had no idea what else to choose, and I felt like my brain was literally rotting. Like, I was the only person that was raising my hand and talking, and I think a lot of that changed after COVID, but it was just like silent, dead classrooms, and everything that I was learning, I just didn't care to learn at all, you know what I mean? Like, a communication major was not for me, but I just knew I didn't want to be a lawyer or a doctor or any other major, you know what I mean? So I just kind of chose that, and I quickly learned that that was not for me. But at the same time, like, I had just moved from New Jersey down to South Florida, where I originally lived in a town of 2.7 thousand people, and I'm coming down outside of Miami and having a great time, and I didn't even really care that I didn't know what was going on, you know what I mean? Like, I was so young, you know? I still am so young. I'm 21. Like, I just didn't really care about the fact that I didn't know what I wanted to do, and that has changed a lot as of till now, but I'll get into that. But as the time kept going on, the unfulfillment just kept creeping back up, and all my friends know this, all my college friends know, like, I would just always say, like, I feel like my brain is rotting, like, I'm not learning anything valuable. And I'm not saying that a communication major isn't valuable, but for me it was not. And all be all, you know what I mean? And so while I was in those classes, I fell in love with the gym, and I got my National Academy of Sports Medicine certification, and I started working at a gym. And while I was taking 6 classes at my college, I was also getting certified to be a personal trainer, because it was just so easy, you know? And I started teaching like 5 workout classes a week. I started getting really into fitness and health and wellness and all that stuff, because my brain had so much space to explore, you know? And I started making content, and I give so much credibility to my 2 friends who really, my friend Ian and my friend Luis, who really pushed me to actually start doing it and start just saying what I wanted to say into the world, and helping me realize that the world isn't gonna end if you be yourself. You know what I mean? That's a whole other thing. But holy crap, I'm explaining so much, like, enough. But to get back on track, like, I truly just did feel like I was in a college girl simulator. Like, I had no idea what I was doing or why I was doing it, and I didn't care, which was the craziest part. Like, I just was okay with, like, floating around, you know what I mean? And I just did not have the same level of consciousness that I do now. I don't know if my frontal lobe developed more. I mean, I'm only 21, but I just feel like so much mentally higher than what I once was, and I feel like I've grown into myself so much more and met myself so much more and realized my passions and my desires, and that I can follow them, you know what I mean? But there was a certain point that I hit where I was like, okay, I cannot allow myself to just sit around and get drunk and party when I don't know what the hell I want to do with my life. Like, it actually pained me. Like, how are we all celebrating and having fun right now when there's nothing to show for it, you know? And that's just how my brain works. Like, that's how my obsessive brain works. Like, it is, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I physically couldn't shake the fact that I was just living. So over the course of 2023, which was a horrible year, I had like ego death after awakening, after existential crisis, after another awakening, after a horrible time that just helped me realize the contrast of what I wanted and didn't want from life. All up here. Like, my life was amazing on the outside, and I just felt so horrible that entire year. Yeah, but I learned I'm so grateful for it, you know. I would never change that. It got me to where I am right now, you know. I was reading so many self-help books. I was traveling for the first time. I was doing lots of things that I don't usually do. And I just learned so much about myself and who I am and who I want to be. And not to be like so freaking corny right now, but it all roots back to wanting to like help and motivate and inspire people. And I don't necessarily know what medium that is through yet. And I thought it was personal training, and that was just a glimpse of that feeling, you know what I mean? And I don't quite know what the medium is yet. Maybe it's this, but I just know that that's the root feeling that I want to express to the world, if that makes sense. And so, to make a long story short, I switched my major to film because I had realized how much I've always been in love with movies and acting and directing and writing. And I took TV media classes all throughout high school, and I would make little videos all the time when I was younger with my littlest pet shops and my Monster High dolls, and make whole scenes and production and editing it. And it's often the passions that you have when you're a little kid that are at like the root feeling of like playing that are the desires later on. Right? At least in my experience, and I've read that a lot. So I switched my major to film, which was already terrifying to begin with, because imagine having to tell your 65-year-old father, who has been a pilot since he was 17, that you want to switch your major to something that involves playing dress up and making movies. Like, my boomer father was like, I don't know how he was okay with that. As he should be though, you know? I don't know, yeah. So I switched my major. I thought it was the craziest thing I could have done. But in the back of my head, I deep down knew, and I know this because I told this to someone out loud when I changed my major to film. I was like, I know if I do this, this is just gonna be the start of me dropping out of college and following my dream. And here I am. But I was just in a bunch of film classes, and I was learning everything that I've already known, you know what I mean? And I understand that those are the beginner classes, but I'm sitting around being like, I'm not getting any younger. I've achieved everything big that I've ever achieved outside of college. Like, I have faith in myself to devote all of my time to what I actually want to be doing and achieving my dreams firsthand, and not through a teacher teaching me how to cut and paste something in a sequence of clips and put it in a different spot. Like, I've known how to do that since I was 10, and everyone else in this generation probably has too, you know? So outside of college, I started making short films and being a part of them and writing them, and acting just felt like the most amazing thing to me in the world. And towards November of last year, I was on the phone with my mom, and I jokingly was like, I just want to take a semester off and do all this stuff on my own. The college is holding me back so much. I could be doing this, and that. I want the flexibility to do this. And my mom was like, take a semester off. And I was like, you're my mother. You're supposed to be telling me to stay in school, bitch. Like, what are you doing telling me that? Like, holy crap. I'm so grateful. I'm just like, it was such a shock at first, you know what I mean? And I was like, no, that's crazy, you know? And then I got off the phone with her, and I really sat and thought about it for a while, and I was like, whoa, like, my life could totally go down that route. I'm really realizing the full effect of it right now as I'm saying this, actually. Like, I really did just choose that path and just kept walking down that path. And I was like, what is the craziest thing I could freaking do right now? Not that I went based off of that, you know what I mean? And I did it. Okay, I've like touched back down to earth. I needed a second after that. And my mom initially told me that, and my parents are divorced, so they're not always on the same page, you know what I mean? And again, my dad is 65 years old, been a pilot his whole life. So I was like, okay, my mom is saying this, that's a crazy pipe dream. Like, let's tell my dad and see what he thinks. Like, I was looking for reasons to not follow my passions after I kind of got an inkling that I wanted to follow them. And I realized that was instantly self-sabotage after I did it. But I then called my dad. And actually no, 2 weeks later then, I let myself sit with it for a while, and then 2 weeks later I called my dad, and I told him the idea that I had of my entire plan and what I wanted to do and what I wanted to prioritize and how it was gonna work and blah blah blah. And my dad went silent on the phone, and he was like, okay, prove it, do it. Like, do it then. And I was like, what? It felt like I was reading Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights book when he told his dad that he was gonna change his major or drop out or something, and his dad was like, his dad basically said the same thing, and I was like, you know? So I then had another crisis because I was like, holy crap, both of my parents are letting me take a semester off of college. Like what? Like what? So I just did so much thinking. I backed out of it. I rethought about doing it and backed out again. And it led me to being here now 7 months later, out of college, been out. I'm not going back. I hate it when people, so much love, but I hate it when people tell me, they look at me and they give me those eyes and they're like, you can always go back, like it's okay. And I'm like I dropped out on purpose, babe. You know what I mean? Like I am fully aware that I can go back. I'm not going back, you know? I don't know what the future has in store for me. I am just working on my stuff and I feel more comfortable about it as it starts to come and flourish more. But I currently am signed to an acting commercial agency in Los Angeles and I fly out there for that. And I'm in the process of figuring my life out as I'm actively filming it on camera, which is probably the most terrifying part because it's not like my whole life is fit together and I'm a millionaire, you know what I mean? Like if I fail, you're watching, you know, like you can see it and you can watch it happen. But I am so much happier taking this route and knowing that I'm even trying, and that is enough restitution for me to sleep at night, knowing that if everyone sees me fail, everyone saw me try, you know what I mean? And I don't care about the judgment from people that aren't trying also, or anyone for that matter. I'm really working on really trying to not care about what people think about me, and this is just another act of doing that. And if you're watching this and you care about what other people think about you too, the only way through getting over that is exposure therapy and forcing it. Like me right now is an act of doing that. I'm talking to a camera right now about how I dropped out of college with an inkling of a plan that is not stable whatsoever, and I haven't even really explained it yet, but I'm going to. Like I'm figuring it out as I go right now. But if you're here, subscribe if you want. All my videos aren't gonna be like this. This is just kind of like what I wanted to explain to myself and my family and my friends in the world. And I'm just gonna start posting whatever I want. Like no rules. I probably won't even be on this camera because it's literally falling apart and I'm staring at the glue coming off of it as we speak. But yeah, I am trying to realize that things don't have to be perfect before I have to put them out in the world, and I'm getting better at that. And you should too, because if you're waiting for the most perfect moment to do something, it's never gonna come. You make it the most perfect moment, and that's what I'm doing right now with this YouTube video, because it's not gonna be perfect. But yeah, I'm taking a chance on myself, and I wake up every single day and think the same thoughts about what I want to do in life and how I will not rest until I can do it. And by rest, I mean mentally up here. I try to rest, but I end up just getting sick and then forcing myself to relax for like 3 days, and then I go right back to it, you know? But yeah, thanks for watching. I know that this is like I know that this video is all over the place, but so is my brain, so welcome. Okay, thanks for watching, bye. Okay.